Hello and welcome to Bluejay Chat. I'm your host Nathan Meyer. Alongside me as always, John Sample. With us this week, Karen Baker's back. Hi Karen.
Good morning, Nathan. How are you?
Good. John, busy night last night.
Very busy night last night. We covered a lot of very important things. As you know, the referendum passed, and so now all of those efforts and those plans that we have been counting on, should the referendum pass, have come to fruition. And so probably the biggest news that affects our number one customers, our students, is going to be that Friday, April 27th is not a day off for them. That was originally designated to be a staff training day, also called our Merrill School Improvement Day. But students will come to school on Friday, April 27th for instruction, and then that allows them to still have the last day of school on June 6th. And so it doesn't disrupt their schedule too much, but it does push summer school back. The start of summer school now is going to be on a Wednesday rather than a Monday, so that will be Wednesday, June 13th. It will still go for 12 days, but it'll go 12 consecutive weekdays until it ends on June 28th, which is already the ending date for summer school.
And contrary to popular belief, you did not make it snow on Monday.
I did not make it snow. If I had that kind of power, I'm from Glendale, Arizona, we would have very typical climate here in Wisconsin, maybe a week of winter and then a whole bunch of spring and summer. But no, so I'm hoping that the weather is past us, the bad weather. It's going to be a real scorcher this weekend. It's going to be in the 50s. It's going to be in the 50s today. So I don't think...
I know. I wore my shorts today for a reason.
And I put on sunglasses this morning on my drive in. So that was always good. It was good to get through winter.
Yeah. So, and we also had a lot of recognitions last night too, and a few unique ones with some young filmers.
And I know that you paid particular attention to them. We had Addie Elliott, Grace Hook, Bella Kotke, Evan Elliott, Zach Smeltzer, and Colton Burrows. They created their own studio similar to what you have on an elementary level, and these fourth graders are doing their own reports, their own news show. They shoot the footage and they write the scripts themselves and they edit all of the segments and they put it together as kind of a student news report for the rest of the building. And I've seen their reports. It's very good. It's not quite to the caliber of this production, but you're going to have some competition by the time they get in fifth grade because they are doing some very quality work and they're utilizing the technology that they have at their fingertips to create it.
Or by the time they get to the high school, they'll be ready to come in here and help improve us even more.
Absolutely.
And start going against Channel 7 and all of them.
In fact, an excellent idea might be to bring them over on a field trip and have them see a real studio like this and what they can do, and I think that would really inspire them.
Yeah. So, Karen, there's a lot of stuff going on. We've got the makeup days, obviously. How does that help affect you?
Thank you for asking, Nathan. Our date of April 27th originally was, as Dr. Sample said, an MSI day for training for our staff. So what we're going to do is take the training for that day and we're going to bump it to June 7th. So that will still take place. Pretty excited. We like to take our spring in-service and focus on trauma-informed or mental health because we know that these are concerns that we have with our school, our students, our community, and our families. And what we have arranged, we're very fortunate, let me say first, that for our middle school and high school staff, they will all be participating in the youth mental health first aid training. This is an initiative that has come out. It's been available for just a couple years, and for all of our staff, and this is all of our teaching staff to be able to participate is extraordinary. It is an intensive but interactive training, but it gives our teaching staff tools to identify students in crisis, students who may have potential mental health issues, and it gives them strategies, and even more so it gives them practice, because we might have Dr. Sample sitting here having a meltdown or a crisis, and how do I as a teaching staff respond to him, and how am I comfortable responding to him, and what do I say that's correct and what do I not say that might make a situation worse. So that is the focus of that training. We do recognize that it is an 8-hour training. The training time is mandated, and staff will be certified for a year. So we will be starting at 7:30 and running through till 3:30, and we're going to provide a working lunch. Our facilitators have been very open to going with this schedule so that our staff can be trained. Typically, it would go a little longer as far as that goes. Our elementary staff are going to participate in nonviolent crisis intervention training, which focuses on de-escalation, student relationships, and be able to be provided skills and practice these skills also, which will assist them with their students and how to interact, particularly with students who are having meltdowns, who are having behavioral issues. So many times it's a comfort level, because what your first instinct is to do might not be the most appropriate. And it's just because when you get into that moment, how do I react? And we want to be sure that we de-escalate a student and not rev them up a little bit more. In the Pine River School for Young Learners staff, actually during one of their days where their students are not there, they go 4 out of 5 days a week, have already participated in this training. So these are all great opportunities. And I also wanted to share that our teaching assistants had the opportunity last month at our MSI, and 20 of our staff participated in afternoon training where they worked with our autism behavioral expert that comes into the district to learn strategies to work with students. So the more strategies we can provide, the more practice opportunities, the more comfortable people become, and then their reaction is just second nature.
You know, it really is a fantastic opportunity. As great as the former director of special ed was, he only had a limited amount of time to provide MVCI training. But as we know, student achievement is number one about cutting through some of these behaviors and getting every student to the place where they can learn. And so we recognize both sides of our pyramid, so to speak. When you're talking about response to intervention, you've got an academic side and you have a behavioral side, because our students come to us from different backgrounds different than that of their teacher, different values, different social, emotional structures, and so it's very important, as we always say, relationships matter, and to have a relationship with that student and understand how that student operates. That's the key, really, to learning. And so I'm real glad that we have these opportunities. I'm thankful for Karen's flexibility with this, because as you can imagine, when I had to call school due to the best interests of student safety, we knew that was going to be a makeup day, and so we were kind of scrambling to figure out how we're going to make that day up without disrupting the student instructional days too much. And so Karen's facilitators were extremely flexible, and they were able to still provide this during the first of 3 makeup days for our teachers. So I'm excited about the day. I'm looking forward to see what our facilitators are bringing, and it is an intensive 8-hour training, correct? It
is. It's intensive, but what is to me very exciting is that to be able to reach all elementary teachers, and then to be able to reach all middle school and high school at one time, instead of sending a couple people here and a couple people there. Everybody's going to have at their levels the same training. And I will say that our trainers are coming from Adams Friendship, Wausau, Tomahawk. Allie Libby, our fantastic school counselor here at the high school, is also a trained facilitator, and she will be part of the group also. So to be able to have people readily available and saying to me, hey, yes, we can make it. In fact, Adams Friendship said, not only can 2 of us come, there are 3 of us now available.
Oh, wonderful.
So each of the sessions for the middle school, high school mental health is limited to no more than 30 per group also. So that's the reason we need to bring in more facilitators, is so that we can have lower numbers and meet their threshold for participating per group.
Right. I mean, that is absolutely cool. And the kids get off the same day that they were going to get off, instead of having to come in 1 extra day.
That's correct. That's correct. And so the calendar really did work out. It's not the most advantageous calendar when we have to make up a day, but it's the next best option. You know, we're talking about touching lives. One of our recognitions last night, which was extremely rare, is somebody who actually saved a life, and that was Nancy Reinhardt-Korath. She works for the food service, for Tahoe Food Service. While they were having lunch, one of her colleagues began to choke, and Nancy didn't panic. She calmly performed the Heimlich maneuver successfully, and so that person also wanted to make sure that Nancy was recognized. But so there was a lot of really, really cool things that came out of last night's board meeting.
Yeah, we were just talking about keeping calm, and she kept calm pretty well, didn't she?
She did.
So, and going back to another thing that you were talking about earlier, John, we've been stating when the referendum passes, which it did, and we're very excited for that. It's going to help with some of our things that we're doing, including a teacher compensation plan, if you want to talk about that.
That committee has been working extremely hard. As you can imagine, we had several things going on with our current compensation plan. Number one, our first-year teachers were starting much lower than the area districts, so we were not competitive. There was also a dip. For whatever reason, there was a dip in that salary structure, where over the past few years, teachers with 7 to even 18 years of experience that were in that range weren't moving as quickly as those ahead of them and behind them. And so, and also our current structure was not sustainable. It went on indefinitely, and I've never seen a salary structure that wasn't capped somehow. So that got approved last night. We're going to be starting our first-year teachers at $40,000. And that is competitive with area districts. We've taken steps to eliminate that sag in our structure, or that dip, and then also we've capped it. So while 8 teachers may not be as excited about this because they've already exceeded that cap of just over $72,000, there's a lot of other teachers that are going to be extremely happy about what they're going to see for an increase in next year. And we're very proud of the work that we did on the committee. We had teachers involved. We listened to our teachers. We talked about not only what does that teacher comp plan look like in dollars and cents, but what does it take to maintain an effective status? What does it take to be an effective educator? So next year's focus is going to be heavily reliant on professionalism and professional knowledge. And so that's the behavior as well as the knowledge portion of that through professional development. So very excited that what came out of that. In fact, our board member that represented that committee, John Smith, last night even said, you know, we need to create some type of proclamation for future boards to understand, you know, don't mess with this schedule. It's something that's extremely good, it's tight, and it can withstand years and years into the future. So we were very happy about that. On the flip side of that, we all knew that we're going to have to someday start approaching the 12% employee contribution to health insurance. Last night, the Band-Aid was not torn off. We're going to stair-step it in 2 years. And so employee contributions went from what is just below 4% now to 8% for next year. Most of the employees, you know, I'd love to be able to say all or none, but anytime you can get most of the employees satisfied, that's a good thing. So most of the employees are going to see that their increase for next year is going to surpass their additional 4% contribution towards health insurance.
Right, you're always going to get those 1 or 2 grumblers. No matter what you do, there's always going to be someone that complains. And that does get hard, but you have to sit there and take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
You do. And it's just like I look back on my first few years of teaching. I was going to come in and I was going to change the world, and I was going to reach every single student. And so you go at it with that world-changing mindset, and there's always 1 or 2 students that don't progress quite like you would want them to be. If we had a magic wand, we'd make everybody happy, everybody satisfied, but that's not the reality of it. And so what we do is we get as many teachers as we possibly can to feel satisfied and to create a very positive culture and climate. And there's always 1 or 2 that are outliers.
Yeah. And so one of the other things that happened last night that we know of is that Jen Seliger, our lovely board president, has decided to not renew with the board and was effectively then voted out, I guess, technically. without her
technically, by not
rerunning.
running, yeah.
Yeah, so
She didn't run a good race, but she didn't run the race at all. And so after 10 years, Jen Seliger is retiring, so to speak. She'll be replaced by Brett Waller, who was on the ballot. We're excited to have Brett on board. Jen is the only board member, and I can only say this through last night, that was a familiar face to me when I started 10 years ago. And so she had the same tenure that I'm experiencing right now. So her family was on hand to present her with the plaque, as well as flowers and balloons and candy and everything else. So it was a very special moment for Jen. And then also, this was really, really cool. Talk about a night of rarities. Abe Akey, our student board representative, was there. This is his second to last meeting. Abe was recognized for a feat that is not accomplished very often, and he scored a perfect score. His achievement was perfect on the ACT test. You know, there's college cutoffs and there's college considerations for those things, and Abe nailed the test 100%. And so he's blowing up our Facebook page with all the congratulations and the comments and the likes. And then Rachel Rell, his counterpart, she's the female student board rep. She's off to Notre Dame for 4 years. Unfortunately, she cannot make the next board meeting, so she was recognized for her 2 years of service too.
and
She's great. Yeah.
she's a senior and Abe's a junior, so Abe could be back next year too.
That's correct. Yes, he can.
Which he's been great to the school already, and just think he's got another year to give back to the school as much as he can.
Oh, absolutely. And if you saw Beauty and the Beast with Gaston, you know that he can not only sing and perform, but his achievement is just skyrocketed to get a perfect score on the ACT.
Yeah, he's fantastic, along with all of our kids. Speaking of which, next month, our graduation.
We knew it was coming, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a real treat for me. I believe I said this, before too. It's always a pleasure to be able to shake the hands of the seniors as they cross the stage, and I'm excited for them to go off and into the world prepared, and hopefully that they're going to be happy and do whatever they've trained to do, or wherever their interest lies. So it's a really cool moment. It's a culminating event, and I just kind of sit back and when I get to say that this class has met the requirements as set forth by the state, that's always a cool moment, and I really like seeing the smiles come across.
Yeah, and Karen, I mean, on your part, since you work with the students a lot, how does that make you feel with them graduating? Is that all this work that they've put in and all this work that you've put in with them has accomplished something fantastic?
It's always great to have the students graduate, and as Dr. Sample said, to go forth and to do what they are prepared to do, but also to test the waters on what they'd like to do. It's great that we have students staying in the workforce in the area. We have students going to technical school. We have students going into the post-secondary, the military options. The world is a wide open place for our graduates, and it's exciting. And it's exciting to see them come back and share their stories of what they have done and where they have gone.
Yeah.
And in our time, I chose the route of, the route of education. But I also know that some of my friends that wanted to go right to work, it was a different time when I graduated. There were not help wanted signs everywhere, and the manufacturers and the area businesses were full. It was extremely competitive, and so it was a kind of a scary time. But now our graduates, whatever they choose to do, they can be successful at, because there are employment opportunities for those that choose to work right away. Obviously, we've got a great UW system, Marathon County, NTC, 2 years at NTC, and you're coming out making money with benefits. And a lot of times those salaries, exceed some of those 4-year university salaries and those careers. So it really is fun to wish them farewell and best wishes.
And it's not a goodbye forever, it's a goodbye for now until something else might pop up that you come back to the school district and help out.
Right, and they're always welcome back. This is the first year too where it's now no longer in existence, but at one time the administrators had kind of their own union too. It was an association, so that was the Merrill Administrators Association. We have money in our treasurer report, and so this is the first year that we're actually giving a scholarship to those that are so inclined to go into education and become a teacher. And so we have a recipient there this year. And so that's going to be nice to go to the senior awards night and hear what my fellow administrators have contributed to the scholarship fund.
Yeah, when is that, by the way?
I believe that is coming up in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Should be about 3 weeks. I'm going back to Glendale, Arizona for my 10-year high school reunion. Well, okay, 40-year high school reunion.
Yeah, you're a little off on that. I'm
a
almost
little
on
off
my
on
10.
that one. It's, yeah, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It's going to be after that, and I would have rearranged my trip back, as important as high school was to me, and looking back on my friends that I've stayed in contact with, I would have rearranged the trip just to go to the senior awards night. That's really a highlight and a testament to the students' hard work.
Yeah. All right. Anything else we got, John, this month? Or
One important part that's a direct result of a past referendum is we were approved to go ahead and pursue hiring our Fab Lab director.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so we're going to be able to hire a 4th teacher for that program. That did require board approval because the current Tech Ed program has 3 teachers. So we're going to be able to add a 4th. We're real excited. I know that there's excellent candidates out there. In an area that used to be a shortage, and still is a shortage, is no longer a shortage to us. Number one, we're able to be competitive now with our teacher comp plan. Our benefits are still better than most area districts, and I think the culture and climate that we've all been able to create here will sustain a fairly employable market. And so people are starting to recognize Merrill, and for that I'm excited. There was a time when you would post a tech ed position or you post a psychologist position, and one year we went the entire year with nobody filling that psychologist position, and we went the entire year with 2 instead of 3 psychologists, and it about wore them out. And so tech ed was the same way. You'd get 0 candidates, and we all know that. So we work very closely with the UWs, especially Stout, and NTC, and what can we do to fill this void. But very pleased to announce that we had 4, I think we had 6 actually, tech ed teachers looking to get into Merrill. So it's nice to be able to put Merrill back on the map. We're no longer the best kept secret. It's out there that we're doing great things. One other thing I do want to mention too is that Russ Nolan was recognized last night. He received an award that he was nominated for by the staff at Maple Grove, which is ironic because Maple Grove has our 2nd school forest, a smaller school forest, but it is recognized as a school forest. And so Russ will be receiving, he received his certificate last night, but he'll be receiving his award tomorrow at the school forest for the great things that he's done.
perfect.
Yeah.
So John, today's also an important day for us.
Today is an anniversary, isn't it?
Yep. Our 1-year anniversary that we've been doing this.
For Bluejay Chat.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. It's hard to believe it's been a whole year.
Yeah. It seems like it's been a little longer than that.
Will this series come on again next season?
I'm hoping so, yep. I
Good.
mean, this is technically the start of season 2 from what my employees tell me. So.
That's right. It is season 2. And I know the viewers have unanimously decided to continue with season 2.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
Congratulations to you.
We haven't had any major complaints, I guess. We've had minor little, oh, you should do this, you should do that, but we're working on those, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And it's getting bigger and better, and you've got a fine crew here. And so I'm looking forward to season 2 of Bluejay Chat.
I'm looking forward to having you and all your guests back.
Absolutely.
Karen back, hopefully Shannon Murray next month.
We will bring Shannon Murray in next month because we've got graduation.
Yeah, and
Sure.
and for him to talk about all the seniors is always special.
Oh yeah, and he looks forward to that.
He always does. He definitely brought graduation back to Merrill too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He started instilling some of those traditions that somehow got lost along the way, and it's a real special time for everybody.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess that about does it for Bluejay Chat. Once again, I'm Nathan Meyer, Dr. John Sample for Karen Baker. Thank you for watching.